the original Thomas. Oh my god! German dialogue. Once again, another thing that popped up in my recommended. It is 9 years old, so it is an old one. But the views and the likes definitely speak for themselves. That's all gonna be edited out because I couldn't even talk. But anyway, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about Thomas the Tank Engine. But I do know some things. So that's all about. Dead 17. Like I said, it was recommended to me in my recommended. PaulVids has made this. Sodar Island. Was it Sodor? Sodar or Sodor? 1982. Sodar. Oh, there he is. That's Thomas. There he goes. And years later, Sodor Island. Present day. Okay, what's present day though? Thomas. There he is again. There he goes. And yep. Okay. I was expecting a dead body. I'm glad I was wrong.
What did he say?
Oh. Well, where's his face? Where'd his face go?
They were the stories that have charmed an entire generation. From the books to the television series, people around the world have grown up with the railway stories, and all their cheerful characters. But the truth behind Thomas and his friends was no children's fantasy. The truth would be horrifying.
Yes. Shed 17. Holy hell, it is so loud I can't hear myself.
It is 1945, and the remote island of Sodor, off the northwest coast of England, has emerged from the fog of World War II, relatively unscathed and untouched.
Really?
The island served as a detention camp for Germans living in England.
Keith Hartley.
That's how Professor came to be here.
Professor Wilhelm Goethe was born in 1903 in Munich, Germany.
Oh, joy.
A doctor in biology, he became a prominent advisor to the ruling party in the
Oh,
30s.
joy! Woo, joy! Oh, yep. Yep, there's a mustache. Yep. German dialogue.
In 1939, as war escalated, he, his wife Olga, and 4-year-old son Hans fled the country.
Ah. The War That War 1973.
Ja, ich habe nie einen solchen Befehl bekommen.
As a resident
Er hat einmal
in the
gefragt,
low range,
nicht
I
wahr?
was increasingly
Am
aware by
14.
the direction my
Mai
government had taken.
1942 war der
The things they were rumored to be doing terrified
Großadmiral
me.
Räder und ich bei ihm.
That's what he wanted people to believe. The fact is, his experiments were hard to stomach even for his own people.
Ah, joy!
In truth, he had become a prominent figure in the government, but as his work progressed,
Oh, that's a great picture to have in your record, shaking hands with Hitler himself.
questions and objections had been raised in the higher echelons of the
Yeah.
Reich.
His work with genetics and DNA was truly pioneering. The cracking and manipulating of the human genome.
I actually...
What Professor Goetze was most successful in, however, was keeping his history a secret until his death.
Makes sense.
In an attempt to gain favour among the German hierarchy, Wilhelm Goetze was at the forefront of the government's most fanatical policies. In 1938, he was influential in instigating the infamous Sajmelnacht, the
Oh
Night
my
of
God.
Sawdust. But, as his experiments advanced, he became a much less popular figure and soon feared for his and his family's lives.
As soon as he escaped to England, he was banged up here. But locals were nice to him. There was no hostility. and many of them chose to live here after the war.
Following their release, Professor Goetze, Olga, and young Hans chose to remain. After studying under his father, Hans left at the age of 18 and went to university on the mainland, studying biology and engineering, writing several pioneering papers about genetics and the splicing of DNA with mechanical implants.
Oh joy, we're getting Wolfenstein. Oh joy. Wolfenstein.
He called it biofusion, the technique of manipulating genetic material to splice with mechanical attachments. However, much like his father, the British government became more and more concerned with Hans Goetz's proposals. So he was forced to seek financial backing from home.
Makes sense.
His dad left Germany with quite a few bob, so Hans came back. He saw our little island as some sort of refuge where he could work in peace.
Oh.
Soon every nutcase and eccentric was coming over.
Is that Captain Crunch?
1962, Hans had set up Sodor Research, a small lab near the town of Alsborough, but soon the enterprise began supplying medical equipment and machinery, and quickly grew to become a large complex, comprising its own links to the growing Sodor rail system.
Okay.
Young Abby Collins from the town was working there when Professor Hans took a liking to her.
Okay.
Soon they were married, and not long after, the town was buzzing with news of her pregnancy.
Damn, that's quick.
Baby Thomas was born in 1968.
Oh my god, he has the
Throughout
face!
the early
Oh, hell no!
years of his life, he would watch the growing railway network with fascination.
He has the face!
He couldn't get enough of trains. His dad bought him one of the first video cameras, and he'd be on the platforms every day. You can see me in some of those tapes.
Hiya, Mr. Hartley.
Morning, Thomas. But he was friends with everyone, even that simple bloke who could only say where he lived.
Soda.
But
Simple
his favourite
bloke.
trains were the old steam engines.
Steam engines were a dying art on the British mainland,
Makes sense.
but Hans also had a fondness for them, much like his son, and likes to keep them running for our purposes, taking orders from the labs to the growing docks, or to the mainland to be transferred to modern postal express trains.
But as the Sodor rail system expanded, it found itself increasingly under the supervision of the
Holy
new British
shit.
rail network and appointed a new controller.
Boy, get off my f***ing platform!
Off him,
Sir
hat.
Topham Hatt. Born into money, he took his ridiculous name to heart and started wearing a top hat all the time. Of course, we islanders had a different name for him.
Yeah.
Fat bastard. You've never met such a cold-hearted as him.
Oh my
He banned
god!
all steam engine volunteers and cut
Really?
most at rail employees. Shut down the branch line and the smaller stations.
Wow.
He was happy to let the railway rust away, just like they did to main line.
But the fortunes of the railway were about to take a profitable turn,
Okay.
a stroke of luck for the island that would result from tragedy.
Come on, we're gonna be late.
Fat friend.
Time. Thomas, get moving.
Young Thomas
Fat
loved
friend.
following railway. He'd be out all the time, hoping to catch a new train on his camera.
11:45's coming through soon. He won't wait for us.
Unfortunately, he didn't take as much
Some of the subtitles don't load.
notice of the safety signs.
I'm not being late again. Have we missed it yet? Wait for the 11:45.
Makes
Never mind
sense.
the 11:45. It must be late again. Thomas, come on. It's always held up.
Oh god, it's about to hit him. Oh fuck! Oh, there's an arm.
Hans was mortified. He disappeared from public view and into the labs. Locking himself in, he wouldn't allow anyone in there.
Makes sense, he just lost a son.
Eventually his father Wilhelm came to see him.
In a few days, a major laboratory had been locked down, followed by an engine maintenance shed,
Shed 17.
which was to become off limits to all.
Makes sense.
All production was shut down, orders weren't met, but the two Professor Goetzes didn't care. More and more equipment was being delivered daily, but no one was allowed in Shed 17.
Okay.
Questions started being asked on Sodor. Where were the Goetzes? Would there be
Goetzes.
no funeral for young Thomas? And where was the body?
I'm sorry, you got hit with a train. I'd be surprised if I'm surprised there's even an arm left, considering if you get hit by a train, the speed and the wheels are gonna grind you up to pretty much Nothing.
They'd arranged for Thomas to be transferred to a mainland hospital. He'd been taken to the complex but was never moved by rail. We all assumed the obvious, he was still in lab.
But if Thomas was there, was he still alive? And what was the purpose of keeping him
I
at the
doubt it.
complex?
I doubt it.
Almost a year after the accident, the doors of Sodor Research were reopened.
Oh, that's the
In an
old
open
bastard.
invitation to the people of the island,
Oh my
Thomas
god.
rolled out of Shed 17.
There he was. There he is. Same face.
It took me a moment to realise what it was I was looking at. When he looked at me and said,
Hiya, Mr. Hartley.
it dawned on me what Hans Goetzer and his dad had
Oh
done.
my god.
One woman passed out as Thomas smiled at us. I had to run off around the side of the shed.
Hey, are you alright, Keith?
I don't
As
think he's
news spread
alright.
across the country, the world's media rushed to Sodor Island.
ITM. Dun, dun,
They
dun,
kept trying to
dun.
interview me. I became a bit of a celebrity.
Uh-huh.
Controversy on Sodor Island. Questions asked about
Bastard.
science ethics.
It's fair to say I was pretty nervous at times,
Joined now by Keith Hartley.
but I think I put on a brave face.
What did you think when you first came to meet Thomas the Tank Engine?
I guess he didn't like it.
Most of my mates said I looked pretty good on telly.
Uh-huh.
The mayor said I'd represented the people of
Sodor
Sodor
experiment.
very well. It's important to show
Thomas had never seen such bullshit before.
you're confident when people are asking you awkward questions.
We can walk.
Good evening. An act of mercy or a crime against humanity?
Yes.
I am joined now by Keith
Even when
Hartley.
some of the questions got difficult, I made sure I knew what I was talking about.
What was your reaction when you first met a talking tank engine?
Exactly that. He
If
boss.
you can't make an informed opinion, or if you can't string together two words on telly, well, maybe you shouldn't be on there.
There are two sides to it.
Admittedly,
We've
the
aired
subject
one
matter was a bit
lot.
bizarre
Let's hear the other
sometimes.
one. There are some dark forces at work here.
Oh my god, stop
You
vomiting.
were alright as long as you could win over the audience.
They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
Oh my god, stop vomiting.
The Goetzer family refused to answer any questions. Behind closed
Holy
doors,
shit.
the only question they agreed to answer had been asked repeatedly. Would Thomas work on the railway? The response was an emphatic no.
Thomas's DNA had been reprogrammed to accept and adapt to the engine structure,
Okay.
using the engine's internal system to maintain his organic functions.
Okay.
What no one could be sure of was how much of the engine was mechanical and how much was organic material.
Yeah.
Thomas had been able to move around without coaches.
That face. That fucking face. But yeah. So, okay, so does that mean every single like train? Are there like other vehicles though? Like cranes, helicopters, and junk whatnot? In the Thomas the Tank Engine series? I remember there's different trains, there's different types of trains. There are helicopters and trains. Aren't there? But I wonder how this is gonna turn out.
But to work on the railway, his engine would need to be fired up and operated by a driver and fireman.
Okay.
Since no one could be sure how much of the engine was Thomas,
Oh.
the pressure caused by the engine could rupture his organs from the
Oh.
inside, and the incredible heat could boil him alive.
Oh my god.
Professor Hans and his father vowed Thomas would never work on the railways.
Okay.
Similarly, the two professors were to refuse many requests by people from around the world who wished to be biofused into engines.
Okay.
There were billionaires offering to pay whatever they wanted to be converted into an engine or some other transport. Train enthusiasts too, and people with terminal illnesses were desperate to be made into trains. But for some reason, the Goetzers refused.
But there would be other interested parties,
That
eager to
bastard.
seize on the biofusion gold mine. the independently wealthy Topham Hatt staged a hostile takeover, and within weeks had bought a controlling share in Sodor Research.
Oh joy.
Immediately, the policy of the company changed, and so did the ethics. The medical supply wing was shut down, and work began on mass biofusion experiments and operations. Anyone who could afford it, some handing over their whole fortunes, were turned into engines.
But, along with the new policy, there would be worse to come. Biofused engines would be allowed, then obliged, to work on the railways.
Oh, great.
The first one we fired up was...
Great. Slavery. My favourite.
James. He didn't have the money some of these people had, and so agreed to basically sign his life away if they wanted to experiment further, or to take massive risks like this.
Oh.
As usual, the fat had everything recorded. All kept classified, you understand.
I love it, that's his name. That's what I'll call him too, fat fuck.
These recordings, shown for the first time, reveal the extent of Sir Topham Hatt's experiments.
It was horrible watching these engines work on the railways some days. But the tourists wanted to see it. They expected it. And for me, it was work.
But with the new engine's increasing work schedule came more and more accidents.
Makes sense.
Edward was first to have problems. He'd been filming all day for the new TV series they'd announced, and for his last scene, he had to pull into Wellsworth Station and whistle to the kids on the platform.
Peep, peep, whistled Edward. Thank you very much.
Oh my god! What?
This was only the first in an increasing number of incidents.
Harold had an obsession with aircraft and appeared to become a helicopter. The operation had gone well, but we had to ban him from being allowed to attempt flight.
Why?
In an experiment kept secret until now, Mavis the diesel engine was to be the first biofused locomotive used on the railway.
We fueled her up and everything seemed fine. Then things got out of hand.
The diesel began to burn her internal organs. Everything organic in the engine was soon burning.
Have you ever heard a locomotive scream in pain?
Oh my god. Oh my!
Rinsing out the fuel tank with water. But by then it was too late.
Mavis's body would be kept under lock and key indefinitely. In an
basically cooked her a fucking live.
Unexpected U-turn, Sir Topham Hatt would ban fueled engines from being used on the island.
Wow, I'm surprised the fat bastard actually banned it.
Harold was never told why he couldn't fly, but the decision would keep him alive, if only for a little while longer.
In fact, unknown to the outside world, there had been many failed biofusion experiments.
That fat bastard kept the accidents a secret, and legal disclaimers had to be signed by anyone being biofused. So there'd be no legal action taken if anything went wrong.
Of course!
This footage shows engines being displayed to tourists during the off-season. Many of these engines were failed biofusion experiments and were too ill to work or were already dead.
Oh
They
god.
had to put a stop to that though.
With all accidents happening, everyone started asking the same thing. Why had Thomas, the first engine, worked so well?
Despite all the troubles the other engines had, Thomas had worked fine, seemingly oblivious to the other engines' problems and accidents.
Keeping their problems a secret from the outside world, Sodor Research began selling the technology to other countries in multi-million-pound deals.
Oh no!
These countries would have less qualms about the use of fuel engines and even the modern electric trains. Even failed biofused engines were being displayed publicly in what would become a kind of freak show.
Oh my god, it's like fucking, conjoined twins. Can you imagine being on the ass end of a train?
To his horror, Professor Hans Goetze saw what this was leading to.
Yeah, slavery!
Slavery of engines, and immediately resigned. His father, Wilhelm, would go one step further.
Oh god. What did he do? Look at the fucking picture on the wall! What a great picture to have in your fucking room! You there shaking hands with Hitler himself. Oh joy. Yes, come to my office so I can show you my many achievements. Including my grandson, who I turned into a train. Oh my god, he has a fucking another picture of him. What the hell? Why? What's that? Oh, it's a gun. Oh, he's gonna shoot himself, isn't he? Well, he won't miss. He won't miss at least. Bang. Sawdust! Wait, why is it sawdust? Oh no, why is it sawdust? Is it because they're wooden? Well, if that's the case, why the hell do the trains bleed when they become trains? Why do they bleed? Just everywhere, holy shit.
Professor Wilhelm couldn't come to terms with what was happening to his engines, and took the only course he thought he could take.
He's on fire, because he's wooden.
Got a load of us rail staff over to his house to clean up after the body was taken away. You should have seen it. Sawdust everywhere. It took us days.
But such attempts to keep the incidents on Sodor a secret were short-lived, after a very public accident.
Okay.
Gordon paid an enormous amount to be Sodor's first 462 configuration engine, much bigger than any other engine at the time. We were terrified that fat shite would make us fire up that huge engine.
Oh god.
We were shocked to discover he had insisted on being able to work on the railway.
Okay.
So, one night, after the regular staff had finished for the day, fat some of the rail staff and I fired up the engine.
As usual, these experiments were filmed. This footage has never been broadcast before.
Dr. Ruth and I filmed it all.
It might be a bit shaky. It was handheld. At first, Gordon complained about the heat. Then that turned to pleas to douse the fire.
But that fat bastard held us back. He wanted to see what would happen.
You fat bastard.
He argued he had put a lot of work into Gordon, and the chances to get him working were too great an opportunity. He was literally cooking from the inside.
Oh my god!
By the time we were allowed to act, it was too late.
Oh god. Oh!
I wasn't as near to him as some of them. All I could do was run. I was lucky to get away with some singed clothes. Others weren't so lucky.
Some of
the
them were really close.
Following the accident would seal the fate of Sodor research.
The fat stopped us trying to put out the fire, insisting that any evidence would fall back on us.
Oh my god.
He kept repeating, "This was all your fault. You knew the dangers. You're legally to blame." He stopped us calling for ambulances or the fire brigade.
We told him, "These are injured people here. They're going to die unless we do something." But he kept saying, "No one from the outside can come in. No one can see this."
Finally, someone suggested we airlift them to hospital.
Oh god.
Harold was banned from flying for his own safety, but we thought the risk was worth it.
Fueling Harold was a nervous experience. Would he have the same reaction Mavis had?
We all breathed a sigh of relief and loaded the injured people aboard.
Oh no.
Then it all went wrong.
Oh no. He's in pain, he's in pain. Oh my god, he's bleeding. What the fuck? Oh god. Oh!
Harold's engine.
Well, there goes that problem.
Had worked fine, but what no one realized was most of Harold's lower extremities were permanently fused to his propeller system.
Why?
As Harold's rotor blades began to spin, vital organs would be drawn into the motor and tear him apart from the inside.
Oh my god!
Well, now there was no covering it up. The smoke could be seen all morning, but news people were here in an instant.
Oh my god!
We were told to close gates and start clearing up the mess ourselves,
my god.
with some help.
Henry Thierry was the only
That
420 gauge engine on the island. A large engine that had been working on the railway regularly, he had become popular among tourists and the locals.
Okay.
Henry was called into the yard to help tidy the mess. Working mostly at night, he would cart away the wreckage under cover of darkness.
We had to work quickly and quietly. Henry would cart wreckage from the yard away to the sea.
He didn't look too happy
then
there.
One night, the points were set wrong, and we were diverted to another shed.
Shed
Henry had
17.
inadvertently been sent to shed number 17,
Oh God.
where Thomas had been biofused into a tank engine and had subsequently been declared out of bounds.
It was dark, and these sheds all looked the same. I unlocked the doors, and Henry rolled in. I didn't see what Henry saw, because as soon as he put his head through doors, he bolted and reversed out.
Oh my God, must have scared them
Keith locked the
shitless.
shed up without seeing what was inside. But Henry had seen it all.
We wouldn't even dare talk about that shed, more than our job's worth.
But Henry had decided to speak up and confront Sir Topham Hatt.
Oh no.
That night, he arrived at the railway controller's office.
Oh no.
I don't know what was said in there, but there were raised voices at times. They had a shouting match for 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure the train that can whistle, bellow and shit would be a lot louder than his fat ass.
Then Henry left, back to the shed.
By pure chance, he was sent back to the same shed as Thomas that night, and with one sentence, he sealed both their fates.
Henry only said one thing to him: stay away from shed 17.
He looks so sad for him. He looks so sad for Thomas. What?
Next day, the fat had a new job for him.
Oh great. Gotta get rid of him. He's gonna get rid of
The flying
him.
keeper route ran through the night, delivering fish from the docks to the mainland, across the highest altitude line in the country.
Oh
That
God.
old line was treacherous at best, but when Henry was put on there, in the middle of winter, it was a death trap.
Yeah, he did that on purpose.
In 1970, fish had started being delivered by road to the mainland. It was safer and more cost-effective, and the line was declared redundant. Dangerous and unnecessary, it came as a shock to the islanders when it was reopened.
Yeah, I
That
figure.
fat shite always hated Henry. He didn't like his cheerful manner, and he clearly had other lifestyle choices when he was a human. Fat wanted Henry away from the other engines, and Kipper Run was a death sentence.
On the night of February the 8th, 1983, Henry had only been on the Kipper Run
Oh
for a
God.
week. The following incident
Oh
would be made into a
no.
book and later recreated in the television series.
Oh no.
This is the train the railwaymen call the Flying Kipper.
Can you believe they put it in a kid's story?
Oh,
Of course,
great.
that fat had changed quite a few of their facts.
Yeah.
They couldn't know the points from the main line to a siding were frozen, and the home signal should have been set at danger, but snow had forced it down.
As the train approached the most
Bullshit.
treacherous part of the line, unnoticed to Henry, his driver and firemen, the points had diverted them to the adjoining siding and right into the path of another train.
Oh God. Oh no. He's not gonna stop in time. Oh no. Holy shit. Oh my God. He's dead. He's fucking dead. He just got bombed alive.
Henry's driver and fireman had jumped clear before the crash.
In fact, Al and Barry died from their injuries.
Oh God.
Slowly, in snow. The poor bastards.
Oh great.
By midday, the recovery operation was underway and Sir Topham Hatt had arrived.
Cheer up, Henry, it wasn't your fault. Ice and snow caused the accident.
Uh-huh.
These images from a train spotter's camera were taken the evening before and were successfully covered up by the Sodor Railway Board for 10 years.
Of course.
There was a railway spike in points, blocking them. Of course, that had disappeared by the time we got there.
I'm sending you to Crewe, a fine place for sick engines.
Sure.
Crew. We all knew what that meant.
They'll give you a new shape and a larger firebox.
Crewe was, at the time, one of only 2 scrap metal yards in the UK capable of handling and recycling organic material as well as engine parts.
Oh my god.
You'll feel a different engine and won't need special coal anymore.
With those few words, he'd sentence Henry to death.
Won't that be nice? Yes, sir, said Henry doubtfully.
Yeah, doubtfully.
Everyone knew he wouldn't see.
Also, I'm noticing the narrator for the TV series rotations is Ringo. Is that Ringo like from the fucking Beatles? Or is that Ringo from fucking
See him again. And everything was sewn up nice and neat for that fat
I think him. Oh god! You couldn't at least kill him
As
first?
news got out about Henry's accident, it didn't take long for Thomas to realise Henry had been disposed of because of what he knew.
Yep.
The next evening, Thomas had been put on his own for the night at Knapford Station. As his driver and fireman left, under what was left of his own steam, he set off for the Sodor Research Complex.
He had a small amount of burning fuel in his firebox, but he was mostly moving under his own strength. It took Thomas 3 hours to get to the complex, the effort to get there nearly killing him.
Thomas arrived at midnight. With no one around, he made his way to the shed where he was created.
Oh god, here we go.
What he found was the answers to his questions, and many others.
Oh god, here we go.
Since Sodor Research had become producing biofuels vehicles, the world had asked, why had the first biofusion operation worked so well, but nearly every operation since had failed? Sadly, Thomas found the reasons inside.
Oh god. What did he find? What did he find? A face?
Thomas had never been the first operation.
Oh
He
god.
hadn't even been second.
And like the 100th.
What shed number 17 contained was
God.
evidence of several attempts to create a tank engine with Thomas's DNA.
Oh my god.
These had been early tests made by people with no experience
that face.
of an experiment on this scale. Ill-planned and unprepared, these procedures had used DNA from the human Thomas
Oh no.
and had been as much the real Thomas as the tank engine the world had come to know and love.
Oh no, so he's just a clone?
To us, Thomas the Tank Engine had been the Thomas we all knew as a boy. Part of the family the whole island's population had known and respected since Wilhelm first arrived.
In actuality, this tank engine was no more the real Thomas than all the failed creations made over the 12 months before.
Oh my god.
This Thomas had all the human Thomas's memories and experiences. He had learned what Thomas had learned, known who Thomas had known, but so had all the previous failures.
Oh god. Oh.
Wilhelm and Hans Goetze had had to learn through trial and error how to bring their Thomas back from the dead. The following experiments had not had the same work put into them, resulting in the freak engines and aircraft that had developed so many problems on Sodor Island and around the world. In Shed 17, Thomas wouldn't discover who he was, but in fact, who he wasn't.
Makes sense. Is that the Thomas in the tank? The real one? Come on. Yep. The original Thomas. Oh my god. Oh, the noises. I don't like this anymore. Stop it. Oh my Christ. Oh my Christ. What the hell?
No.
God. Holy hell in a handbasket. Oh God. Okay then.
He had no idea he was only one of many clones. None of us did. But I guess as time passed, we stopped asking all the questions we had at first. We were just glad our friend was back with us. He could work for us. He became our servant in a way.
Yes,
someone who drew in the crowds, helped create jobs, was eager to work.
Slave.
Always thought of us as his friends. Sadly, over time we came to think of him as just really useful.
There's still like 4 minutes left. What the hell you mean? In 1983, a government inquiry was launched into the events on Soda Island and the labs of Soda Research. Biofusion was banned the following year. Thank Christ. Compulsory work for biofusion engines was finally banned after the wide-scale nuclear blast test of what? July 1984. Oh my God! What the fuck's the point of that? The top of him had disappeared without trace. Of course the fat bastard did. His whereabouts were never discovered. He would now be 102 years old. Tom's tank engine remains in a specialist unit where he has currently undergone 23 reconstructive operations. Christ. Biofusion was later banned in Europe, although biofused engines are still required to work. Sadly, in China, biofusion is still compulsory for all political prisoners.
今日會有一批水果同蔬菜抵達碼頭嘅。
Never late.
我要你將
Always
食
on
物
time,
送去
never
南
complain.
福集，繼續做你自己日常
But
嘅
she's using
工作啦。
discipline. How you dickhead? Oh yeah, bullet trains. Starring Abby L.
Of Cockleshell Bay.
Well, I liked it. I really did. Definitely subscribe it. Now, like I said, this video is 9 years old, so some of you guys, and like, you know, forget to subscribe for this guy's video. And mine, if you don't mind. Fire it? Huh. Vintage 8. 4 million. So check that one out. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe. But before you watch mine, and if you have not seen this video, please go watch the original video by PaulVids, please, so that, you know, they get the good stuff too. Because that's a lot of things I have to remember, and a lot of people forget sometimes, is that when you react to something, it wouldn't be there to react without the people that made it. So always show love to the creators. But with that out of the way, like I said, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, like and subscribe, like I said already. And I hope you stick around for something I make in the future, or maybe go back and check out something I've already made in the past. And if you do, share that video, this video, or the other video, whatever video you pick, to family, a friend, or a random person on the street. But, like I say how there always ends. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic. Sorry, it's a new one. I gotta stop doing that. But, like I always say at the end of the video, bye-bye.